Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to part 2 of our rear frame rail install. Now in the last episode, we chopped out all the bad and fit checked the good, okay? We welded together our rear frame rails, rear cross member and cross rail, and now we've got them fit checked up here into place using our screw jacks that we've got. So it's basically just pushed up against the rear seat pan, and as you can see, just with the holes on where the seat pan and the rear frame rails are, everything matched up really nice here. This side as well, you can see it there. So overall, I'm very happy with the fitment of how this turned out. But as we started cutting into things last time, we noticed these rear spring mounts are bad. You can kind of see here, it's all eaten away up inside of there. So these need to come out. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna use my paint marker, trace these out just to make sure we get them back exactly where they are sitting right now. But we'll do that, we'll take some measurements, get these rear frame rails back out of the way, and then we're gonna go ahead and chop out those rear spring mounts and weld in the brand new AMD spring mounts. Now, like all the other Mopar sheet metal that AMD produces, these things are a work of art, and really excited to get these in the car because once those are welded in, then we can permanently weld in our rear frame rails, and then we can actually get our back seat pan fit and get that welded in too. So without further ado, let's go ahead, let's make some marks and let's get to work. All right, guys, and with that, our front spring mounts are all welded into place, and they turned out really, really nice. Now, filming this, I didn't have a very good vantage point to place the camera to show you guys every step of the process, but I'm going to walk you through it real quick in case you guys have to do this when you're replacing your rear frame rails. So as you saw, the first thing I did, I went through, I traced out exactly where this the original piece was in place. Did that on both sides here, so that way I know that it's going right back in the same spot. The measurements that I took here were from the face of the spring mount to the back of this hole here, and on my car it measured 5¼ inches. Both of them are identical, so I'm very confident that these went right back into the same place that they were originally at. Now once we get the frame up into place, I'm going to take some measurements. I've got the body diagram for the B-body, and we're going to make sure that our cross measurements line up, that everything lines up before we permanently weld our frame rails into place. I'm pretty sure they are just about where they need to be. I don't think there's going to be much tweaking that we're going to have to do to get them in place. So as you saw, I drilled out where the plug weld holes are on here, and there's sometimes when I'm taking apart some of these cars, these older cars, and you see there's only 2 plug welds that hold some things into place. I'm sure it was fine from the factory, but there's some things that just weird me out a little bit. So I went ahead, I welded them solid. You don't have to do that, guys, but there's some things that I just want to be a little bit stronger than what the factory originally installed or how they installed it. So, if you are buying this car 20 years from now and you ever have to replace these mounts, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to replace a lot more sheet metal than just the mounts, because they are welded and they're pretty good. I'm gonna go back and clean and dress out these welds here, but you guys can see, it did, weld in really, really nice. We're gonna clean these up once we get this floor pan punched out of here. And that's coming up here in just a couple minutes. So now it is time to do a couple more things on our frame rails before they go into place. If you guys remember back to part 1, fought like hell to get this up into place. And then I realized that the ears here for the seat belt mounts were in the way because of our mini tubs that we installed in the back of the car. So we're gonna have to actually, where this jogs out at, pull a straight line to the bottom of this and actually cut this completely off. And what I've decided to do is actually cut the nut off here on the back side of these mounts, and I'm going to use some, I believe this is 12 or 14 gauge. It's really heavy duty stuff. It's actually inner rockers from when we did the rockers on the Camaro. But I'm going to go ahead, measure this out, and I'm actually just going to push this inboard of the frame rail, 2 inches on the inside. So we're going to fill up our rear seat pan hole, measure about 2 or so inches. We'll see kind of where it was to kind of where it's going to be, and we'll just drill out this hole, drill out that hole, and it'll be under the back seat and nobody will ever notice whatsoever. So let's go ahead, let's do that, and then I think it's time to fit our frame rails up for hopefully the last time. So let's get these cut, let's get this welding going, and I'm excited to wrap up this project, so let's get to it. Alrighty guys, with that we are all wrapped up with our rear frame rail install. Let me give you guys a quick rundown of everything that we just knocked out. As you guys saw, we drilled out the holes here on our rear spring mounts, ended up plug welding these, and for a little bit of extra measure, ended up going ahead and welding those solid. You guys definitely don't have to do that. I like to do it, like I said earlier, in some cases where I just want a little bit more strength than what it was originally from the factory. But everything lined back up exactly like it should have. You guys remember the paint marker that we put around this? That was exactly spot on both sides of this. Our fitment to the rear seat pan, nice and tight overall. And as you guys can see, all of our holes line up exactly where they should. So I don't know if I could have got the fitment much better than that, to be honest with you. It turned out really, really nice. So with that, guys, the next videos here are gonna happen pretty quick here over the holidays. We've got rear seat pan right there, ready to go in. We've got trunk pan right there. We got all the pans, okay? We gotta put them all in here in the next couple of weeks, and that is really gonna make this car come together quickly. And like I said, we've got all the parts to get it done. So with that, guys, unfortunately this video is coming out a little bit later than what I would have liked to have. Had some issues with the snap-on welder, ended up breaking my torch, and yeah, parts are damn near impossible to find for it, so I had to wait a little bit longer than what I would have liked to have. But tomorrow, Christmas Day, this video is going to come out tomorrow, guys. I hope you all have a safe and happy Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And we'll see you guys again real soon. Take care.